Now we're back at the part 2 of the models of news selection. In the last video, we have talked about McCombs and Shaw's model, where they have argued that the agenda-setting capacity of the media makes them highly influential in shaping the public perceptions of the world. However, it has also been critiqued as an oversimplification. Why? It assumes that one agenda that purveyed by the media, which then becomes the agenda of the public. But it can be argued that members of the public have their own agenda, shaped by their own personal circumstances, all the more now that we have the internet. Today, reference is made to reverse agendas, where the media follow rather than lead public opinion. There are plenty of intervening variables that can influence our perceptions and judgments other than media coverage, though it has to be said that none may be quite as powerful as the full force of media, most especially if this is what you see in almost all of the public platforms. One news channel saying that the Duterte government is incompetent may not sway public perception, but if all TV stations, radio, and online platforms report on the same news, there will be a process of what we call amplification and reinforcement. It will drive the incompetent administration issue to the top of the public agenda. Another critique of the McCombs and Shaw model is that it does not tell us whether effects are direct or, from the point of view of media, intentional. The model also leaves us uncertain whether agenda setting is initiated by the media or by the members of the public, or by institutional elites who act as sources for the media. Here again, we come back to our discussion of the knowns and the unknowns. Because of these criticisms, Rogers and Deering propose a later model of agenda setting. This identifies three interactive agendas: media, public, and policy. The policy agenda is the one propagated by the government and politicians. Emphasis was placed also in this model on contextual factors, the ones you can see in the long rectangles. There are the influences pressing in from national and world events. To focus on the actual distribution of influence, one would have to add an extra agenda, that of the corporations which dominate contemporary life. Corporate agendas often work in alliance with, and occasionally in competition with, the policy agendas of the government. If you can remember, the news programming of TV Patrol during the time that their franchise is being withheld by the government, all of their news stories are about how the fans give their sympathies to the network and the good things that they have done for the country, the historical events in the past that they have reported. All of these is a way for ABS-CBN, the one with corporate agenda, to sway the public opinion of the masses, and in return, influence the public agenda. This concept has been illustrated in this tripolar model of agendas, also by Rogers and Deering. By looking at the two-headed arrows in the model, it helps us keep in mind that there could be potential for alliances of influence in the public arena. Let's have this example. Media revelations about the government corruption, for example, the Pastillas modus at NAIA, might create an alliance between the media and the public, though as we all know, the intel came from Senator Ontiveros. The government, now the odd one in this threesome, may feel pressured to respond to the climate of opinion by taking over that corruption. President Duterte on February 26 said that probe is underway for the officials allegedly involved in the modus. His Bureau of Immigration chief, however, Jaime Morente, will be given a chance to respond to allegations. Now, the complexities of gatekeeping and agenda setting may at this point appear to be sending us every which way. However, we all know that somewhere in there is at least a vague set of rules as far as media performance is concerned. Such rules were referred to as news values. Let's go over deeper discussion about these news values. No? So, two Norwegian scholars, Johan Galtung and Marie Rouge, crafted the model of selected gatekeeping in 1965. In this model, potential use of news resemble guests arriving at a hotel. Standing sentinel is the doorman, known as the media perception. He lets some visitor pass through the revolving door of news values, while others end up back in the street. As the privileged guests emerge from the revolving doors, they do so with the shape and gloss of media messages. They have been processed as well as selected. So that's the three other models of news selection that we can have. Point to ponder from this lecture is that 1. Not all news get picked up by the mainstream media. And 2. News are being selected through gatekeeping, depending on the mix of agendas being set, and of course, news values.